I'm Dave Greenwood, and this is Overcoming Distractions. If you are an adult with ADHD, a busy professional, an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or just need some strategies to navigate your adult ADHD, you're in the right place. Who am I? I'm an entrepreneur with ADHD and the author of 2 books, Overcoming Distractions and Overcoming Burnout. I coach and mentor people just like you, and together we navigate the ups and downs of adult ADHD. From getting out of our own way to helping people just like you thrive in the workplace. That's what I do. Want more info on working with me? Hit overcomingdistractions.com. Ready? Let's get to today's podcast. All right, what's up, everybody? It's Dave. Welcome back to Overcoming Distractions. You are in the right place if you are a busy professional with ADHD. And I want to dig right in because I know when I work with certain people, one-on-one, busy professionals like you, these are some of the things that come up over and over again. So this is the podcast for you, the busy ADHDer, who have to work with other people. So, you may be in leadership, you may be a manager of maybe a few people, or you could be, say you're on the creative side, managing vendors and other projects. Managing our ADHD is challenging enough for some of us, and then you have to manage others and keep them on track. And it can be tough, and I know I have been there. But if you're not managing other people properly and effectively, it is only going to come back and haunt you. So I like to say on this one, we're going to have to dig a little deep to just get what we need to get done to navigate the workplace properly and get what we need from other people. So I will tell you that if you set some parameters, boundaries, expectations, put some systems in place, being a leader with ADHD can become less challenging and less stressful. And of course, is there more? Absolutely. But these are some of the core must-haves, I would say. I believe that busy managers, leaders, others that have to work with others really need to have in place. So let's go through these. So I like to talk about blocking time out, and as a leader, as a manager, regular blocking of times is, I think, crucial. And sure, we can all call this time blocking, and before you jet off to another podcast, let's just discuss why this is so important for leaders and busy execs. And I've done podcasting on time blocking, and when you get used to it, it actually becomes a very effective strategy for getting things done, meeting deadlines, losing distractions, blah, blah, blah. So, we used to call it an open door policy. I'm not even sure if that term is used anymore. But that does not work for adults with ADHD. You can't work in that environment. And you have to block out times to get your own shit done sometimes. Otherwise you'll drop the ball. You won't get any of your projects and tasks completed. You'll eventually become an ineffective leader or manager, and you might even burn out because you're just constantly on the go for others. So my very simple advice to you is to block out chunks of time every day and communicate that with your team that you're unavailable during those times. They can have access to you at other times, during the day. But you got to block out those times and make sure your team understands that you are unavailable, unless, of course, they're bringing you a $1 million new client and contract to sign, or the building's on fire. But this is important. to actually get your own stuff done. I've been there. I was in a place years ago where I was leading a team. Working from home was just not really something that happened, and I used to call in sick to actually get my own work done. So I would take the sick day and actually work to get caught up. So the other piece of advice is if it's a regular time every day, if you can do it, then people know that you're going to be unavailable from whatever AM to whatever PM or what have you. So, all right. You need to improve the way you work with others. And you know what? I just want to say something real quick before I move forward on this one, because I just want to let you know that I do understand that some of these can be difficult for those of us who have adult ADHD. And I don't want you to think I'm ignorant to the fact that we, can't just wave a magic wand to make these things happen. My goal always here on this podcast is to get you thinking about how you can improve your personal and professional life. And that is a lot of trial and error. And the reason I say this now is because we may have difficulty doing some of the things that I'm suggesting. But I can tell you, if it becomes a habit, it does make things easier in the long run. You just might have to give it a go a few times and experiment and start slow and start small. So, but getting back to my original thought, how you work with others is going to make a big difference, not only with your stress level, but the stress level and expectations of other people. And this is where you really, really need to pull from the depths of your ADHD brain and get ahead of the game. So 2 ways I would suggest. Are there more? Absolutely. But I think 2 core ways that this is going to work is, number 1, getting better with delegating. And many of us with ADHD think we just have to do it all, and other people, are not good. But if you're going to survive as a leader or a manager with ADHD, you're going to have to delegate. And as they say, you're going to have to break some eggs, meaning somebody might F something up in the process, and you're going to have to get comfortable with that. I think to get better at delegating, you're going to have to identify the strengths of some of the people you're working with, the ones you're managing, and you're going to have to lean on them. And if there's weaknesses, you're going to have to take some time to implement some type of training on your side, whether that's bringing somebody in or some other way of getting some people up to speed where you can trust them to actually do what you need them to do. And I really think hitting the pause button to plan long-term is time well spent, because in all likelihood, it is not going to get better unless you do so. Next, let's say you're working on a particular project and you need things from other people. Once again, you're going to have to dig deep into that ADHD brain, and you're going to have to figure out how to plan ahead. I know that's a challenge for some people. We have difficulty planning ahead and seeing that time horizon, we call it. But it's going to be critical to actually working with others. Anything you need from other people, you need to notify them well in advance. They will also thank you because, they're not working last minute, and that only creates a domino effect. You're late to ask them for something, they give you something right before the deadline, or honestly after the deadline. Now that's that domino effect. You're working nights, you're working weekends, or you missed your deadline. So it is really important for you to improve the mechanics of the way you work with other people. All right, regular brief check-ins, and let's really emphasize the word brief here, all right? The more you can check in with others, just real quick, the more you and others are going to stay on track, and it's got to be 10 minutes or less. It could actually come down to just a quick little email. But it's really got to be 5 minutes or less. A quick update on the progress of a certain project with either the people that that are working for you or vendors, etc., can go a long way in keeping things moving and lowering your stress. You don't have to be obnoxious about it, but it does help. And let's make one thing clear. These do not have to be meetings. They shouldn't be meetings. You don't have to have meetings all day long just to check in on people's progress. It can be just a quick little note saying, hey, just making sure that you are, going to be able to get this XYZ document or whatever to me by the date that we agreed to. So, all right, next. You need to streamline communication. You cannot have 10 different ways for people to communicate with you and get anything done in your own world. That's just not going to happen. And I saw somebody recently posted, I think it was on Twitter as I was doom scrolling one night. And yeah, I do that too sometimes. But they're like 12 different messaging apps and they have ADHD. And that literally makes me shake. I mean, it just doesn't have, there's no need for it. There's no reason for it. Okay. If you're going to be an effective leader or manager, you need to streamline your communications, especially if you have ADHD. Set those expectations on what communication channels you'll work with people on, and to a greater degree, expectations on how quickly you're going to get back to them. If all you do is live in response mode by responding, that tells me a couple things. One, the people you're working with don't have any clarity on what they need. And two, you just live in a world of being constantly distracted, and neither of those work. So, all right. Next, speaking of clarity, if you've listened to more than a couple episodes of Overcoming Distractions, then you know how important I think clarity is, especially in the workplace. Without clarity, we procrastinate, we miss deadlines, we get stressed out, we make mistakes, and that is no good. So I'll be brief and to the point, be as crystal clear and detailed as you possibly can when communicating with others. And your main goal in communicating with others is absolutely to seek clarity. If a client, your boss, or any other stakeholder is communicating with you, make sure you have the absolute clarity you need before hanging up the phone, leaving that meeting, etc. We oftentimes feel embarrassed to go back and ask for clarity. And then what happens? We don't have what we need. We sit on it. We sit on projects or reports or other things for days and weeks. And I can tell you what's more embarrassing than going back and asking for clarity or getting clarity on a certain project is to actually miss the deadline and not get something to the person that needs it, such as your client or your boss. So you will be a far better leader or manager if you seek clarity as well as obtain it. All right? Clarity, I should rename this podcast Clarity because we talk about it a lot. But it goes a long way in mitigating the negatives if you're a busy professional with ADHD. So, all right. Another important aspect is you really should be working with like a mentor or a coach that understands business. I mean, leaders and managers can live a lonely life sometimes, and then you throw in ADHD, and it can be a rough place to navigate. You know, and more than that, doing this day after day is just only going to result in burnout. Excuse me. I have a little tickle in my throat today. So you go into work, you have to put on a good show for your clients, and those who are managing, they put it in the background, and it can be a shit show, right? We kind of hide it. You feel you have to be available 24/7 to your team and others, clients, etc., and it's just not sustainable. And that's why it's great to have an outside voice helping you navigate your management or leadership responsibilities or styles, and understanding how you can create some balance in the workplace. Obviously, you need to be available to your team, your clients, other people doing work for you, vendors, etc. But you need to figure out a balance. And sometimes the best way to do that is just to kind of work with somebody that can kind of look at it and help you ask those questions that you need to ask yourself. And another thing, you may be coaching and mentoring your people, but who's helping you navigate the complexities of leading and having ADHD? So find somebody that's a good fit, that's been in business, that can understand your unique challenges, and I'm sure that person, you're going to find that it's a great benefit by having that trusted advisor by your side. So, all right, recap. Make sure you're blocking out time. Yeah, I know we talk about it over and over again, okay? But it is a solid strategy. Improve the way you're going to work with others. Regular, brief check-ins. Streamline your communications so you're not in response mode all the time. Live in a world of clarity that is non-negotiable, and work with somebody if you need to get out of your own way and put some systems in place to help you thrive in your business or your organization. All right, gang. I'd love to hear from you. It's overcomingdistractions.com. As I say, you can always book a quick 15-minute Zoom chat with me to see if we are a good fit. All right, catch you next time.